So you know what yesterday was?
Happy Love Day, everyone!
That's right, Valentine's Day. For me, being an overgrown man-child who watches children's cartoons, it was the UK release date for the Sonic movie. Being born in 1991, Sonic was a character whom I had grown up with throughout my childhood. At the age of 5, I got my very first games console, which was the legendary Sega Mega Drive, or Genesis for my American audiences. Naturally, there was a Sega game bundled with the console, Sonic the Hedgehog, and I, of course, absolutely hated it. I was too young for the game, it was too hard for me, and I fucking hated Labyrinth Zone. What really drew me to the character originally was watching Sonic on the awesome Saturday morning cartoons. The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which I still have on VHS, Sonic the Hedgehog, later known as Sonic Sat AM, arguably the best Sonic series ever, fight me, and Sonic Underground. So yeah, when I heard a Sonic movie was in development, my reaction was,
oh yeah! This is happening!
I mean, we've never really had a true Sonic movie before, only animated TV specials. Then I saw the first trailer, and my reaction was,
oh no!
Not just because of the horrific realistic style Sonic design, whose freaky human-like teeth remind me of that weird fish I once saw in a nature documentary, but also the really out-of-tone music included in the trailer. This wasn't going to be a Sonic movie. This was just going to be another low-effort cash grab of pop culture references and fart jokes with no honour to the childhood characters being featured, just like they did with the Smurfs and the Woody Woodpecker movie. But then, a strange and unheard occurrence happened.
Come outside, Mr. SquarePants! It's a summer miracle!
Where Paramount Pictures actually listened to the wave of negative backlash and delayed the film's release to rework the Sonic design. And the redesign actually looked a lot better. That's something that's never really happened before, so I do give credit to them for doing this. And of course the poor animation studio, who must have put hours and hours into working on this, only to unfortunately go bankrupt after. There's been speculation as to whether this was actually a huge marketing stunt and where they were always going to use this design and just trolled audiences with the one in the first trailer. But after reading some comments from various animators and digital artists, I do genuinely think they redesigned it. But despite the redesign, I still kept my expectations low, because even though the design had changed, the film itself had not. And the same crackhead-induced producers who had greenlit this design would still have greenlit everything else. So, was it a shameless cash grab loaded with fart jokes and pop culture references? Kinda. But let's have a look at the plot first. We start off with baby Sonic on what appears to be Green Hill Zone, who's been hunted down by a tribe of echidnas because they notice he's super speed. Sonic manages to escape to Earth using the iconic rings as a portal to travel across the universe. Kinda like the Special Zone rings from Sonic 1. Sonic spends his time hiding out on Earth in a place called Green Hill. Subtle. Until one day, Sonic causes an electrical blackout across the country. Sonic, realising his cover is now blown, is getting ready to portal off to what is effectively Mushroom Hill Zone, but is tranquilised by a cop named Tom before he can. Sonic drops the rest of his rings through the portal, which now leads to San Francisco. The military, who were alerted by the blackout, send out a scientist named Dr. Robotnik to find out what caused the incident, to which the rest of the film is now mostly a buddy road trip between Sonic and Tom trying to get to San Francisco, with Dr. Robotnik trying to chase them down. The plot is pretty average, to be honest. There's certainly a lot of plot hole inconsistencies in it, such as 1 minute Sonic is in a bar trying to lay low and stay in disguise, then in the next scene he's out of costume, scoring hoops on a basketball game, and no one really seems too bothered by it. Tom is labelled as a domestic terrorist and plastered all over the TV, yet no character seems bothered by this, and he is able to freely roam into buildings with no resistance at all. So yeah, don't try to think about the plot too much. It's also your typical balance of funny, goofy scenes followed by more serious, heartfelt moments, which I'm gonna be honest, don't really blend well together. You'll notice they often use that cliche trope of having sad music play, so you know it's a sad and serious moment and we're meant to be feeling sad. There are other cliche moments where there's a bar fight and Sonic does the old Quicksilver scene where everything is in super slow motion whilst he runs around them. There's nothing wrong with the scene itself, but you know, we've kind of seen this done before and it's actually getting pretty old. There were also some pretty cringe moments in the film, such as Sonic doing the floss dance twice, and a really out of place fart joke. Oh, and there was a really corny moment towards the end, where it looks like Sonic is dead, everyone is looking sad, Robotnik is like, "Why are you all looking sad? He was just some alien from a random planet," and then Tom does the typical, "No, he was not just an alien, he was my friend." And this, I shit you not, and this not only causes Sonic to wake up, but also supercharges him. Like, it's just so fucking cheesy. If you want Sonic to get emotionally powered up, at least do something worthy, like have Tom nearly die or something, not just do the whole, "Oh, friend" moment. But you know what, despite those negatives, overall, I did think this film was pretty good. Not a masterpiece by far, but certainly no disaster either. I mean, yeah, it's primarily aimed at kids, but there are some good jokes thrown in it. The humour was actually okay. I got a few laughs out of it. There was one moment where Robotnik is patronising Tom about drinking formula milk. Tom responds with something like, "I was breastfed actually," and Robotnik is like, "Oh, rub it in my face. I was an orphan." I don't know why, but that line actually got to me. There were also a lot of little references of the Sonic series scattered throughout, such as the Sonic Mania trailer music being heard in the opening scene, and even a reference to the crudely drawn Sonic character that became popular online, which I thought was pretty funny, and shows there was some level of fandom love put into this. So how are the characters? Well, let's start with Sonic himself. Design wise, he looks great. It's a nice balance of realism and cartoon. His large eyes offer a lot of expression, which is vital for the more emotional scenes, which makes me curious as to how the original design was actually going to pull off some of those moments. Like, honestly, I would love it if the DVD actually came included with a version of the film using the original Sonic design. His proportions are decent, kind of a nice in between of the lanky modern Sonic and the stubby classic Sonic. And I like the voice Ben Schwartz gives to the character. I was never really a fan of Roger Craig Smith, who's been the voice actor for Sonic since 2010. I just think he made Sonic sound too old. Though I do think this made him great for the Sonic and the Sonic Boom series. I was always more of a fan of Ryan Drummond, who voiced Sonic back in the adventure games. But I think Ben Schwartz did a great job of bringing back that younger, more energetic, and more naive persona to Sonic. James Marden plays Tom, the cop that ends up befriending Sonic, and he's fine. Not really much to say about him as he plays the same generic character that we see in all of these kind of films, but he still does a good job at it. Now the highlight of this film has got to be Jim Carrey's portrayal of Dr. Robotnik. There have been many different portrayals of Robotnik over the years, from a complete goofball to a serious villain. Jim Carrey gives it a nice balance in between. In this portrayal, Robotnik is seen to be highly intelligent, but also incredibly condescending. He sees everyone as beneath him and doesn't get human emotion or empathy, and just sees humans as inefficient when compared to machinery. Which kind of in a way does remind me of the Robotnik from the Sonic Sat.AM series. But then he's also got that classic Jim Carrey energy injected into him, and it's just fantastic to watch on screen. I love the relationship between Robotnik and his assistant Agent Stone. Honestly, I would have rather seen more screen time between these two characters than Sonic and Tom.
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk.
Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them!
And this is just a side note thing, but for me personally, it was really refreshing to hear Robotnik refer to himself as Robotnik again. When I grew up, he was always known as Dr. Robotnik. I never really did like the Dr. Eggman name change, and yeah, I know he was called Eggman in the Japanese games, but I thought Eggman compared to Robotnik was a dumb name. In Sonic Adventure, they addressed this by having Robotnik call himself Robotnik, and the heroes mock him as Eggman. I thought that was actually quite a good middle ground, which is what they do in this movie as well. I just hope they keep it that way for the sequel, which, yes, by the way, they do set it up for one. After the awesome 16-bit credits at the end, which are fantastic by the way, we get a post-credits sequence where we see Robotnik plotting his next scheme in Mushroom Hill Zone, looking much more like his video game appearance. But we also get a sneak peek at Tails arriving on Earth, who looks awesome in design. So I'm really hoping this film does do well at the box office in order to greenlight another sequel. So yeah, that's the Sonic movie. It wasn't a masterpiece, but definitely also wasn't the disaster it could have been. If you're a Sonic fan, go see it, you'll enjoy it. If you're not, then probably best to give it a skip, as overall, it is a kids movie made for kids in mind, and if you're not going to get a thrill out of all the Sonic references, then I don't think you're really going to get much of a thrill at all. But anyway guys, that's just my opinion on the Sonic movie. Have you been to see it yet? Did you think it was a masterpiece? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and until the next one, take care.